Florida hospice where Terry is staying. Legal options to try to get Terry's feeding tube reconnected seem to be diminishing. Earlier today, a state judge in Florida's Supreme Court refused to have it reinserted. The Defense Department is considering major changes to the military tribunals that were established to prosecute terror suspects at Guantanamo Bay. That, according to a report in Sunday's New York Times. The report comes in the wake of widespread criticism from the federal courts, foreign governments, and human rights groups. The changes reportedly include strengthening the rights of defendants barring confessions obtained by torture. Springtime in the nation's capital means it's time for the city's annual Cherry Blossom Festival. While the trees haven't blossomed, the city's hosting dozens of events and performances. Cherry trees were originally given to the U.S. by Japan 93 years ago. More headlines in 30 minutes. After Hours with Cal Thomas starts right now.
Hi, I'm Cal Thomas, and welcome back to After Hours. Tonight, who decides when we go to war? Who makes decisions about policy in the White House? Undersecretary Douglas Feith, the third most powerful man in the Pentagon, discusses the power struggles in Iraq and Israel. Then, a terrific young actress on television this season. Kim Raver stars on the hit show 24. She gets up close and personal with me. I think she was flirting with me. And in 1974, the Republican Party was all but dead. It took Ronald Reagan to change it from a country club party into a winning conservative party. Some call it the Reagan Revolution. But first, column one. It's Easter weekend, and those who believe Easter is about something other than bunny rabbits, dyed eggs, and marshmallow chickens will find it eerie that a type of passion play is playing out in Florida. Terry Schiavo has been sentenced to death. One does not wish to push the analogy too far. Easter remains a unique event, but it will not be lost on the millions who observe it as the death of an innocent man for guilty men and women that Terry Schiavo does not deserve to die. Those Catholics and evangelical Protestants who voted for President Bush in large numbers will be heartened that he and a Republican Congress came to the aid of this Catholic woman in her time of distress. Beyond the politics, though, is something more important. Our evolving standards, as Justice Kennedy recently called them in a death penalty case, means all of us are potentially at risk of euthanasia if we do not measure up to cultural and arbitrary whims imposed by unaccountable judges. Do you see where this is headed? Today it's Terry Schiavo. Tomorrow it could be you or me. As pressure grows to ease the financial burden on Social Security, pressure will also grow to eliminate the elderly and infirm to free up more money for the fit and those who contribute more than they take from society. Events like this should not be seen in a vacuum. When one category of life is deemed unworthy of protection, as with Jews and African Americans in our recent past, other categories are soon threatened. The death of Terry Schiavo will diminish us all. It also threatens us all. And that's column one for this week. Douglas Feith is Undersecretary of Defense for Policy. That means he's one of the brains behind the war in Iraq and the battle against worldwide terrorism. Secretary Feith is a lawyer. He has law degrees from Georgetown University and Harvard College. I visited with Doug Feith earlier this week in his Pentagon office and asked him for his assessment of the state of Iraq 2 years after the fall of Saddam Hussein.
The overall trends seem to be that there is a greater sense on the part of the Iraqi people that the future is not with the Baathists. It's not going to be a return of Saddam and his people. The future is with the new political arrangements. And that makes Iraqis more willing to join the security forces, more willing to join the government, more willing to turn in intelligence on where the bad guys are. There's a general sense of cooperation with the new government and with the coalition forces than there was before.
Billions and billions of dollars spent, over 1,000 lives lost, many others wounded. Has it been worth it so far? Will it be worth it in the end in terms of money and blood that we have been involved as we have in Iraq?
After 9/11, it became clear that the principal danger that we faced in the war on terrorism was the possibility that one of the state sponsors of terrorism could provide weapons of mass destruction to a terrorist group and use it in the United States. If that happened, the casualties would not be 3,000 as we suffered on 9/11, but it could be 10 or 100 times that number. And even though Saddam Hussein's stockpiles have not been found. He clearly had weapons of mass destruction programs. He clearly had a history of hostility to us, of aggression, of support for terrorist organizations. He was a major danger, and I think the American people and the world in general are much better off, much safer now that he's been removed.
Many are concerned about infiltration in our own country. There are a number of reports. The New York Times had a lead editorial on Monday expressing grave concern about immigration or illegal immigration, people coming across from Mexico or Canada. Can you say, based on firsthand knowledge, are we safer now by any standard than we were on September 10th, 2001?
I think that the essence of our strategy is not to try to protect the country only at the borders. We talk about a strategy of defense in depth, and that means that homeland security actually begins abroad. And our interest is in confronting threats as close as possible to the source of the threat and not waiting until it arrives at our border.
Are they having less time in this country? Are we safer than we were on September 10th, 2001?
We are not safe enough, let's put it that way. I think we are doing a sensible, energetic policy of confronting the terrorists and forcing them onto defense.
How will you know when to send out the invitations to celebrate victory?
The key to winning this war, I believe, is addressing the problem of the ideological support for the terrorists. And there are people who say one can't defeat an idea, but I think history has a number of examples where evil ideas have been defeated. And we certainly saw in the 20th century that our victory in the Cold War helped defeat communist totalitarianism as an idea in most places around the world. And we saw that the defeat of the Axis powers was a major defeat for the idea of fascism. We have a similar task when it comes to terrorism. It's not a matter of simply suppressing it. We have to delegitimate it.
Do you trust Mahmoud Abbas, the new Palestinian president?
I hope that he can make the kind of reforms that people had vainly hoped Arafat would make for throughout the 90s. The hope is that the Palestinians, having had such terrible leadership for so long, are now going to finally realize that they need to follow the path that of reform and the path that will bring the Palestinian people a broader-based government, a responsible government, a non-terrorist government, a non-corrupt government. If they can achieve that, and I don't think it's beyond their capabilities, but so far it's been beyond their reach. But if they can achieve that, they will be better off, and so will Israel.
Secretary Feith, who leaves his job this summer to pursue other interests. Coming up on After Hours, the Reagan Revolution. How did the great communicator revitalize the Republican Party and pave the way for today's conservative leaders? But first, Kim Raver, Kiefer Sutherland's co-star on the hit show 24. Did you know she also co-starred with Joe Namath on Sesame Street? We're back in 2 minutes.
Ready, set, 1, 2, 3.
I was really worried.
I couldn't remember my own grandson's name.
Dad was having trouble doing everyday things, so I got him to the doctor right away.
Problems like these could be signs of Alzheimer's. If it's Alzheimer's, prescription treatment can help. Talk to your doctor. For mild to moderate Alzheimer's, Aricept is the #1 prescribed Alzheimer's medication worldwide. It is well tolerated, but not for everyone. People at risk for stomach ulcers or who take certain other medicines should tell their doctors because serious stomach problems such as bleeding may get worse. Some people experience fainting. Common side effects are nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, not sleeping well, muscle cramps, feeling tired or not feeling hungry. In studies, these were usually mild and temporary.
Aricept is helping him do better.
My life is far too important to just give up without a fight.
See your doctor as soon as you can and ask about the #1 prescribed Alzheimer's medicine, Aricept.
Presenting Blue from American Express, the card with no annual fee and an introductory rate of 0% for up to 15 months with a low APR after. Call 1-800-600-BLUE to get yours. You can pay over time, which makes this card remarkably flexible. It has a free rewards program with so many choices, it'll make your head spin. Plus, the card remembers your passwords and gives you extra security online. All this with an introductory rate of 0% for up to 15 months and a low APR after. Call 1-800-600-BLUE now to apply. Blue from American Express.
Welcome back to After Hours. My favorite TV show this season is 24 on Fox Broadcast Monday nights. It's incredibly well written, acted, and edited. This season's plot revolves around a group of Islamic terror cells that seek to bring America to its knees. One of the stars is Kim Raver. She plays the daughter of the Secretary of Defense and the love interest of Kiefer Sutherland. She started in TV as a child on Sesame Street. We recently spoke in Los Angeles, and I asked her for her thoughts on the show's success.
I think it's a combination of things. I think the writers and Kiefer Sutherland, and also it's a different style than most TV shows, and I think that it's very current in its subject matter. Especially this season with the current series involving a Islamic radical terrorist cell right here among us. You can't get more contemporary than that, can you? Yeah, and I think it takes those kinds of risks that other shows don't, and I think that's very appealing. And I think it's a combination of James Bond and, you know, sort of political and sort of intellectual things. So that's a nice combination. So if it's James Bond, are you Pussy Galore? Oh, my. Well, I don't know. You'd have to ask Kiefer that. Well, speaking of Kiefer, since you brought him up, a few weeks ago he did a disclaimer in response to some lobbying by the Council of American Islamic Relations in Washington to do a minute of saying that even though we're talking about Islamic terrorists on this show, we want you to know that not all Muslims are like that. Was there a debate in the cast among whether that should be done? Because they're not doing this kind of thing on The Sopranos about Italian Americans. Right, right. I think the producers decided that they wanted to address it because of what has been happening, you know, with 9/11, and to sort of say that this is in our world today, but it is something that needs to be addressed, and also what may seem to be one thing in our show always turns out to maybe be something else, to sort of be patient. And, you know, I think you can have different feelings on the disclaimer, and but I think that the producers also wanted to be responsible. Please tell me he's not going to die. Come here. In your character, you're separated from your husband, Paul, who comes back into the picture at a timely moment for the show, but an untimely moment for your personal life because... Isn't that exactly the way life is, right? And because you are dead attracted to Kiefer Sutherland, Jack, his character. Now, if you had to write the outline, you say it mimics life a lot, the storyline, who'd you rather end up with, Paul or Jack? I think Audrey is extremely attracted to certain qualities in Jack, and that's this, you know, amazing man, and he's completely different than Paul. Who would I rather end up with? I guess I'd have to say Jack Bauer. I mean, who wouldn't want to end up with Jack Bauer? You know, he's sort of like the little girl dream. You know, he shows up on his white horse and you know, saves the day. Did you have that dream in the 1970s? A time of great feminism and... Well, I mean, I was definitely, you know, I was sort of definitely this, you know, I was going to make my own way and, you know, take care of myself, even as a little kid. But I think deep down, sort of hidden, you always want, you know, you always want to be taken care of. And, well, you know. Deep down and not so hidden, you started on Sesame Street, of all things. I did. How did that come about, and what did you do? Basically, it was like a nursery school for me. I mean, my mom was a single mom raising 2 kids in New York City, and you know, you also want the best education for your kids. And my mom was, shopping at some department store, and a woman came up and approached my mom to put both of us in Sesame Street, which at the time was not Sesame Street. I mean, now it's a whole institution. And it was this amazing experience. I got paid. My mom put that money aside to put me into, private school in New York, and, I got to be with Big Bird. And
Did you know that according to a Hottie webpage, you score 84 out of 100?
No, now where are you getting a Hottie web? I can just imagine you going on for like a Hottie webpage. Well, I'm flattered.
Well,
no, I did not know that.
16 points out of 100. You still got some work to do, but
I know, I do. I better what do they say I need to work on?
Well, they don't say. I didn't want to go beyond that because it said about naked pictures. I wouldn't.
Oh no, we don't want to go there.
No, we don't want to go there.
I hope they're not naked pictures of me.
No, I think it was of me. That was even more disgusting. Yeah. So you speak French and you speak German, and your birthday is tomorrow.
Well, you know a lot about me.
I'm willing to keep some of it secret for the right price. So how did we learn?
My birthday is tomorrow.
Yes, well, you don't look it.
Well.
Whatever it is. So how did you learn French and German and all of these other things you're doing?
I learned German because my mother is German, so she spoke to me when I was a child. French I speak because my husband's French.
Are they really better lovers, or is that just fake?
They really are.
All right. Glad to hear that. Well,
sorry to the Americans, but the French that I know.
Well, merci beaucoup, and vous êtes très gentil.
Merci.
That was fun. Coming up on After Hours, a new book on how Ronald Reagan changed the Republican Party, then eventually changed the entire world. We'll be right back.
It's Fox.
It's news.
It's live.
Cholesterol. It comes buttered, battered, basted, and roasted. But it also comes from Mom, Dad, Grandma Rose, and Grandpa Joe. Your cholesterol doesn't just come from food. It also has a lot to do with family history. Ask your doctor about Vytorin. A healthy diet is important, but when it's not enough, adding Vytorin can help. Vytorin treats the two sources of cholesterol, food and what your body makes naturally based on family history. Vytorin lowers bad cholesterol 45 to 60%. Vytorin is not for everyone, including people with liver problems, women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Unexplained muscle pain or weakness could be a sign of a rare but serious side effect. Vytorin may interact with other medicines or certain foods, increasing your risk of getting this serious side effect. Simple blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. Continue to follow a healthy diet and ask your doctor about adding Vytorin. For the two sources of cholesterol, remember the name Vytorin. That's Vytorin.
They arrived this morning.
On your ThinkPads?
Yeah, a wireless workhorse. It's got Intel, stainless hinges, titanium composite, hard drive protection, rock solid.
Slick. Who gets the first one?
I work up real sweat, you know?
Phil.
Klutz-proof wireless.
I'm okay.
Only on a ThinkPad with Intel Centrino mobile technology.
Only Nextel breaks all these productivity-boosting features into one complete package. Now get the power of Nextel on phones starting as low as 99 cents. Get built-in walkie-talkie for instant connections, GPS capability for voice-guided directions, and web access for info on the go. Now phones start at just 99 cents. Offer ends soon. Call 8888 Nextel. Get the I-205 for only 99 cents. And ask how you can get 1,000 anytime cellular minutes. Call 8888 Nextel now.
Announcing the Lincoln Mercury Roadshow sales event. Now get special values on the all-new Mercury Mariner. A versatile SUV in a smart size package with first-in-class safety canopy system and an available V6 you won't find on Toyota RAV4 or Honda CR-V. No wonder Mariner is a Consumer's Digest best buy. During the Lincoln Mercury Roadshow sales event, lease a 2005 Mercury Mariner for just $199 a month. And get a complimentary iPod Mini from your local Lincoln Mercury dealer. Hurry, the Roadshow sales event ends March 31st. See your local Lincoln Mercury dealer today.
DSL versus Comcast high-speed internet? It's no contest. With our increased speeds, we're more than 6 times faster than DSL and 70 times faster than dial-up. More people choose Comcast for the speed and all the free features we deliver. Call 1-877-FAST-501 to get America's #1 high-speed internet as low as $19.99 a month for 3 months. It's no contest. Comcast high-speed internet blows DSL and dial-up away. Call 1-877-FAST-501 now.
Welcome back to After Hours. The rise of Ronald Reagan to national prominence began long before 1980. But according to Craig Shirley, the pivotal year for Reagan and Republicans and conservatism was 1976. Shirley's book, Reagan's Revolution, The Untold Story of the Campaign That Started It All, recounts that incredible year. Reagan lost the nomination by a whisker, but he laid the groundwork for 1980 and all that followed. I recently asked Craig Shirley what the party thought of Ronald Reagan at that time.
Well, he was not held in very high regard by East Coast Republicans, the country club Republicans that tended to dominate the Republican Party at the time. They didn't really know all that much about Reagan. Conservatives across the country, of course, knew all about Reagan, whether they're conservative Democrats or conservative Republicans. But the country clubbers tended to dismiss him. What they did know about him, they would dismiss him as a political and intellectual lightweight or just an actor.
You write also that even though Reagan lost the nomination in 1976, he probably would not have run in 1980 had he not run and lost. Why do you think that?
Well, everybody I talked to, within his inner circle, from Mike Deaver to Lynn Knopfsinger to Peter Hanford and everybody else in between, says that if Reagan had not run in 1976, he would not have run in 1980. His appetite was whetted, and one thing that you and I know about the man, but I only rediscovered in researching this book, was how fiercely competitive Ronald Reagan was and how much he hated to lose. And so his pride was at stake after the 76 campaign. By 78, he had decided he was going for the nomination, and he and Mrs. Reagan were raring to go.
There were some Republicans who thought that the Republican Party, and certainly a lot of Democrats did, was an endangered species. In 1976, a lot of people were talking about falling back, regrouping. It's going to take years to rebuild. In 1974, the party was a terrible mess. How did it make such a comeback in 2 years, and what role did Ronald Reagan play in that comeback?
Reagan played the entire role, Reagan and his conservative supporters around the country. The Republican Party, after Watergate and after Nixon's pursuit of liberal policies, was at death's door. The Republican Party was essentially dead as a political party. It stood for nothing and antagonized everybody, as I write in the book. The party was headquarters of the National Committee, where banks were threatening to foreclose on it. The staff was being let go left and right. What Reagan did for the Republican Party was breathe new life into it and change it from a country club party into a populist party and a conservative party. So by 1978 and 1980, everybody in the Republican Party who is running as a conservative Republican by and large. Before that, that was not the case.
Like President Bush, Reagan was underestimated. Both of these men have used that underestimation and underappreciation to their own political advantage.
You bet. Yeah. I think that one thing, there are many, I see many common qualities between Ronald Reagan and President Bush, but one, I think the most essential one, is that both of them have taken on the status quo. They never accept things as they are, whether it's the president on the war on terrorism or Iraq or Social Security or tax cuts or so many other things, or his appointment of John Bolton to the UN. He challenges the establishment in Washington. He challenges the status quo, and that is the essence of true leadership.
We had Christy Todd Whitman, the former governor of New Jersey and the former EPA administrator, on the show recently. She's written this new book, It's My Party Too, and she's encouraging the party to come back to the center, not to be so hung up on the social issues like abortion and same-sex marriage and the rest. What would happen to the party, in your estimation, if it took her advice?
We'd go back to minority status. They tried that before, where they tried to, quote, broaden the base of the party or try to be all things to all people. Ronald Reagan knew that the way to make the Republican Party the majority party was to be one thing to all people, to have one core set of principles that are based in freedom and individual dignity, individual privacy, individual rights and responsibilities. And with all due respect to the Governor Whitman, she's wrong about the future of the Republican Party, and that's been proven over the last 30 years. The party is successful today, not because we listened to the advice of Christy Todd Whitman, but because we followed the leadership of Ronald Reagan.
Next week, an actress and swimmer who look better wet than almost anybody and changed swimsuit styles for millions of women. Esther Williams visits After Hours. Bobby Short died this week at age 80. He had leukemia. I first met Bobby on the streets of Manhattan when he was doing those wonderful Charlie perfume commercials. Suave, sophisticated, and brilliant in conveying the essence of Cole Porter songs and other standards, Bobby Short wasn't part of Long Ago and Far Away. Bobby could light up any room he entered today, and he lit up the Cafe Carlyle for decades, introducing old songs about love to new couples in love. Fortunately, his work survives on DVDs and CDs, there to sing to new generations. Good night from Bobby Short's Manhattan.
Our best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine? The best is yet to come the day you're mine. Come the day you're mine, we're gonna see the sunshine. The best is yet to come. Come the day you're mine. Thank you.
Mother Nature can be harsh on your car. That's why there's Rain-X. From windshield treatment to wax, everything you need to weatherproof your vehicle.
Hello.
How is it?
Amazing service. Breathtaking scenery. Lonely.
You've got your whole company for company.
Honey, I like your company. Oh, you should have seen the buffet last night.
Nice, huh?
Heartbreaking.
Why heartbreaking?
Because I shared it with Sid Brown from Accounts Receivable.
When will you be home?
Tomorrow.
Can't wait.
Me either.
Oh, Miss Horn, I have you with us for 2 more nights.
Where you've always wanted to go and never want to leave. It's the Marriott way.
Now, when you look for a home online, there's only one place you need to go, Prudential.com, powered by Prudential Real Estate. It's where you'll find more nationwide listings, with more facts and photos, and more ways to explore the homes and communities you're interested in. And when you're ready, you're one click away from a Prudential Real Estate sales professional who can make home buying and selling a snap. Prudential Real Estate and Prudential.com, the perfect place to find the perfect home.
Yo, yes, you're excited. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking Beneful. You've never seen anything like it before. It has wholesome grains, real beef, even carrots and peas. So there's carbohydrates for energy and protein for those serious muscles. And you even get some vegetables. So happy. You love it so much you only think you're getting spoiled. Yes, you do. But it's good for you, too.
Healthful, flavorful, Beneful. Beneful brand by Purina.
Go!
If you've got broadband, you're ready to go. Visit Vonage.com or call 1-800-972-4VON. Now available at Best Buy, CompUSA, and Office Depot.
This week on Fox News Watch, Terry Schiavo and the media. We will cover the endless coverage. The Pope and Easter weekend 2005. Is Jesus about to get his own TV show? Are the new charges about Princess Diana's death accurate? And if she's so rich, why is she going to live in the ghetto? Fox News Watch coming up after the latest news.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Janice Dean. Pope John Paul II is expected to bless the faithful on Easter Sunday, but it's still unclear if he'll actually speak or give a silent blessing. Saturday, he skipped an Easter Vigil service at St. Peter's Basilica. A cardinal stood in for the Pope, reading a message from him. The Pope has missed many holiday week events as he recovers from his recent throat surgery. Worshippers gathered in Bethlehem to hold a vigil on Easter Sunday Eve. The Church of the Nativity, known as Jesus Christ's birthplace, was aglow with the light from the candles of worshippers there. Thousands make the pilgrimage to mark Jesus' death and resurrection. At least 19 people have been reported hurt after suspected Islamic rebels bomb and shoot at a train in Thailand. Police say the attackers used a cell phone to trigger the bombs that ripped apart the track and overturned a rail car. Hundreds of people have been killed in the area in the past 2 years in violence. The government blames separatist rebels in the largely Buddhist country. 17 U.S. soldiers involved in the deaths of Iraqi and Afghan prisoners will not be prosecuted by the Army. Military investigators had recommended the soldiers be court-martialed in connection with the deaths of 3 detainees. Charges ranged from making false statements to murder, but Army officials say in those cases, either force was used properly, soldiers didn't understand the rules for using force, or there wasn't enough evidence. Some wicked weather hitting the southern half of the country. Powerful wind gusts, even tornado warnings slamming Mississippi. Much of the damage reported so far has been from falling trees. Quarter-size hail has also been reported there. And in Texas, hailstones the size of golf balls pelted the central part of the state. It dented cars and broke apartment windows. Strong winds also knocking down trees and ripping roofs off homes. Those are your latest headlines. Fox News Watch with Eric Burns is up next right here on Fox.
The Terry Schiavo story is, quote, made for 24-hour cable news, but in a good way. So says Mark Efron, an executive at MSNBC. Is he right? What does he mean? Those are among the questions for Jim Pinkerton of Newsday, syndicated columnist Cal Thomas, Jane Hall of the American University, and media writer Neil Gabler. I'm Eric Burns. Fox News Watch is coming right up. Mark Efron of MSNBC goes on to say that the Terry Schiavo story is important and agonizing, and we, meaning television, we've been able to explore all the facets. Have we, Neil?
Oh, boy, where do you begin with this one? First of all, I'm not sure it's made for cable TV. In some respects, I think it's been engineered for cable news by the right wing and by cable news itself.
And the right wing did what to make it more of a story?
Expediting this whole thing with the congressional vote. Now they know that they're going to initiate a number of twists and turns in the courts. All of this is just fodder for cable news, which just kind of loves this stuff, in addition, obviously, to the personal elements of the story and whatever. But there are so many elements to this story, so many dimensions, so many of them so complex, the legal, the medical, the religious, the moral, and the personal. And I don't think that the media have done a very good job of covering them. In fact, this to me is the journalistic equivalent of walking and chewing gum at the same time.
Well, if it has all of you, you're saying it's simple enough to cover this better than it has been covered.
I'm saying this is a very, very difficult story to cover, and I don't think that the media have covered it very well.
But all of the elements Neil mentions tell us, Jim, don't they, why we are giving this story so much coverage?
Exactly. I think it is difficult to talk about it, even on this show, because we're here to talk about the media coverage as opposed to the merits of the case, and so it's hard for, we may seem sort of flip and cynical as we discuss whether or not it's made for TV or not. I do tend to think it's a natural for the cable television form in that there's an ongoing drama. It's like a girl falling in a well, like the Jesse McClure case of way back when she fell in Midland, Texas. There's legal stuff going on. There's political stuff going on. There's protesters, frankly, who are visual. They're doing things. They're carrying around crucifixes and Madonnas and so on. It is a great story for cable news, but I think along the way, almost by accident, the ethical, moral issues, even the technological issues about MRIs and living wills are getting a good airing. I think the media's done a good job on this story.
Let me move us, Jane, to an angle that is specifically a media angle, and that's word choice. There's a website called Media Matters that has criticized John Scott of this network for referring to those people who want Terry Schiavo to continue to live, referring to them as Terry Schiavo advocates. Mark Strassman, CBS last night, called those same people supporters. Amy Robach, MSNBC, talked about Congress passing a bill on Terry's behalf, meaning that she would continue to live. Is that an example of bias? Because certainly the people who want her to die are her advocates as well. They do not want her to die out of punitive reasoning.
Well, I think language is a very big piece of it. Her family, the Schindler family, has said she's being starved to death. I've seen only in print.
And many doctors, by the way, strongly
many
dispute
doctors
the use
say
of the
that
word
that is
starvation.
not the case. I think that cable has not done a good job of this. I think this is a terrible tragedy for both families and obviously for Terri Schiavo. I think that this ultimately is opening up a lot of serious issues, but especially in the early days, I saw people asking the brother, Bobby Schindler, on this network and others, is this murder? And he says yes, that the husband was basically trying to murder the wife. There was no contradiction on many shows. You have this family obviously very aggrieved, feeling very deeply about this with very little response. And the best things I've seen were Dr. Tim Johnson on ABC and Sanjay Gupta, who's a neurosurgeon on CNN. There's very little information. It's emotion.
Mostly
it's one
emotion.
side versus the other.
I think a piece of evidence that indicates how cynical much of the media have become about this story is that ABC and Fox News Channel did polls on what people thought. They found, irrespective of the language that was used or the methodology as Neil refers to it, in other contexts, they found that most people were on the side of the husband, Michael Schiavo. So what happened? They stopped airing the polls because they wanted the controversy. This is a perfect media storm. Life versus death, husband versus wife, parents versus husband. These are important issues, and I do agree with Jim that a lot of them have been aired, and a lot of people who don't have living wills are going to get them. But I think it's part of a continuing narrative as to who we are as human beings, and especially the religious versus secular. You've seen a lot of stuff in the New York Times and other places blasting people for their faith and for their convictions, especially Catholics, on this issue. It's a subtle kind of religious bigotry that slipped in along with all the other stuff.
I agree with what Cal just said, but I'm going to just disagree with what Jane said. Look, if Mr. Schindler, Terry's brother, says it's murder, it's not the job of the reporter to argue with him.
The reporter set it up and said, is it murder?
Well, okay, if that's what they clearly think. It doesn't take much to get the Schindlers to say...
But their side was not, the other side was not represented.
Well, I didn't see this particular segment, but I'll say it is not the reporter's job to argue with a source.
Listen, the issues have been aired, not aired well, but let me just pick up on what you just said, Jim. Carol Iovana, right here on the station. Here's a question she asked. So essentially, we have on the one hand the issue of starving someone to death, and the other hand, a loving family that wants to take over this responsibility. Is that pretty much how the argument is going?
Well, was she paraphrasing what an interviewee had just said before that?
Let me say this. The disconnect between the mainstream media and cable news on this story has been tremendous. If you watch cable news, you see a nurse who says that Terri Schiavo was laughing at her jokes. You see a doctor who was purportedly nominated for a Nobel Prize, which he really was not, saying that Terri Schiavo was going to recover. You see, again and again and again, you see this kind of idiocy, and it stacks the deck very, very heavily.
Well, if she's not being starved to death, what is she being? Exorcised of her spirit? Of course she's being starved to death. She's having
the proper term is dehydrated.
Well, but the food and water.
But the objection, Cal, people have to the word starvation is that it suggests suffering, and some doctors say it's the wrong word.
It's sort of like
actually, Eric, I'm pretty sure that dehydration is an unpleasant way to die, too.
But the point is, there's debate about this. There's debate about whether she is able to feel pain. There is debate about a lot of this, and I think the narrative has been way too one-sided on this.
We have to take a break. We will be back this Easter weekend with this.
The Pope's health seems to have improved, but the media are still watching, still waiting. More Fox News Watch after this.
Right now we have to get to our traffic report. Let's do that. How about that traffic report?
Traffic is horrible this morning. I get the feeling.
People are trying to get to work this morning.
Speaking of
Introducing the Acura RL with the first real-time traffic monitoring system through AcuraLink. It can help you find an open road. And with 300 horsepower and the world's most advanced all-wheel drive, it knows what to do when it gets there.
We're really trying to get you to traffic.
Oh, you know what? My mother forced me to take that in.
The all-new Acura RL.
I don't look at myself as a basketball coach. I look at myself as a leader who happens to coach basketball. When they get out into the workplace, they're armed with not just a jump shot or a dribble. I want you armed for life. You know, I want you to develop as a player. I want you to develop as a student. And I want you to develop as a human being. My life isn't about playing games. That's why my card is American Express.
All the smiles, all the enchantment, now everything you bake can have all the goodness with half the sugar. Introducing Splenda Sugar Blend for baking. It's part Splenda and part sugar, so cakes are moist, cookies chewy, pastries sweet and flaky. See? You can have it all, and with half the sugar. New Splenda Sugar Blend for baking. Part Splenda, part sugar, pure magic.
You know about Allegra, but you should know about Allegra D. It just may be music to your ears. Ask your doctor about Allegra D. You need to know about it.
Can you tell the difference between these pet medications? They're the same brand, but this medication costs a lot less and is delivered right to my door. That's the 1-800-PET-MEDS difference. Great savings, fast service, free shipping. Order now.
A pope is always news, but when he has made as much news as this one has, and when he's 84 years old and in failing health, he is bigger news than ever, especially on Easter weekend. Jim, what kind of news is he these days?
Well, this has got a lot of the elements of the Shivo case in terms of potential death, with, frankly, more...
The media staked out
The media staked out
cover
with more dramatic elements, because if Terry Shivo dies, that's it. If the Pope dies, you've got all the succession issues, who's the next cardinal, who's the next Pope going to be, and so on. So in many ways, it's a more rich story. Also, let's face it, this Pope is an historic figure, but he's also a very media-savvy guy. The New York Times quoted Archbishop Foley, who's the director of communications for the Vatican, saying, quote, the Pope saying, if it doesn't happen on TV, it doesn't happen. This guy is right out of the Marshall McLuhan playbook.
And Cal, he was asked by somebody else too about whether he was upset about all the vans outside the window when he was in the hospital. It was a death watch, and I think, Jim, it may be then that he said this. You know, he understands he's news, and the media have to be there for him.
Well, he understood it certainly when he teamed up with Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan, two other media-savvy people on the campaign to bring down the Berlin Wall and the collapse of the Soviet Union. I want to mention a wonderful column written by George Weigel, who is the Post biographer in the Washington Post this week. He talked about suffering and how this, especially on Easter weekend, is a metaphor that much of the media and much of the country now ignores or doesn't fully understand. The Pope truly believes that the process of dying is a redemptive act. He is pro-life in every category, and Weigel's piece in the Washington Post, I thought, was something we just almost never see in the media anymore.
I think that's an interesting point. I think that it makes reporters and the general public uncomfortable seeing this man suffering and obviously ill and unable to speak. And it's moving to see him wave an olive branch, the symbolism of that when he cannot speak. I do think there's another element that the American media in particular are very reticent to go at, which is who might be the successor. I saw a piece on the BBC about how that's considered something you shouldn't ask, and yet in some ways there may be some consideration. It's not unlike if a president were gravely ill. Would it be all right to be asking this question?
Neil, talking about something that sounds ghoulish but really has a practical side, I was reading that a CBS producer took out a 10-year lease on a rooftop near the Vatican to cover the Pope's demise. This was 9 years ago. Oh. She was thinking 10 years ought to be plenty, but he is obviously seeming to outlive this time frame. It does seem, and I'm sure some people are going to take it this way, that this death watch notion is a kind of ghoulish thing. But in fact, it is practicality. We know he's going to die relatively soon, and we would be doing an injustice if we in the media weren't preparing to cover this event and the succession.
Well, I think the media sees it as politics, and they love the horse race aspect when it's a presidential race, and they love the horse race aspect when it's a papal race. But let me say one thing. I think I have to give the media a certain amount of sympathy here, because whenever you deal with a religious figure, Muslim clerics aside, there is a whole new set of journalistic rules. Because you don't want to offend the people who follow. You don't want to offend Catholics in this case. So you can't criticize the Pope, ever. You have to kind of take the Catholic view of him. You even sometimes have to accept some of the things that the bishops have been saying, and which James said here, that even though he can't speak, he's an even more powerful communicator now without speaking.
Are you commending the media for this? Or?
No, I'm not commending them. I'm saying that there are two sets of journalistic rules. For example, if you said about a president of the United States who couldn't speak, he's even a more effective communicator now that he can't talk, we'd all be sitting here saying that's nuts.
For a politician, prediction? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I know.
But look, this is the thing about this. First of all, I want to say about what Neil said, that it's amazing to me and instructive to me that the media all of a sudden cares about not offending Catholics. With this Pope, they have been on his case for his position on birth control and abortion and a whole lot of other things for years. And I think they're
just not doing it now, though.
They're not doing it now, but they have been for many, many years.
And not directly against the Pope either.
Let me make one prediction on this as a death watch. And again, we're being flipped because we're covering this from a media perspective.
It's the phrase that people in the media use.
Exactly. Is that as the Pope declines, you're going to see false reports about death. You're going to see this phenomenon we never saw. The last Pope dying was like 25 years ago. BlackBerries and cell phones. Nobody's going to wait for the puff of smoke anymore. It's going to be something that some reporter will be reading on his BlackBerry in real time and quite possibly getting it wrong the first time.
We have to take another break. We'll be back with a star-studded version of our Quick Takes featuring
Jesus in prime time, Oprah in the ghetto, and new charges about Diana and the paparazzi. Stay tuned.
With his ship stuck in ice, his crew left him for dead in the bay that now bears his name. For Henry Hudson, discovery was the easy part. Conquest of America. Check your local listings.
What makes Kyocera printers and copiers so simple and easy to use?
Kyocera. Outstanding reliability.
It's technology that's catching on everywhere.
My team just loves them. They're people-friendly.
Kyocera copiers and printers. We're people-friendly.
Phenomenon from Lexus.
At Pacific Continental, we know that sometimes all it takes to get your business off the ground and back up where it belongs is just a little well-timed draft. Pacific Continental. That's the PCB way.
If there ever was a vehicle designed for the Northwest, this is it. The new all-wheel drive Freestyle has been a big hit with our customers here at Landmark Ford. And right now, you can drive one home for just $295 per month. Or choose the new all-wheel drive Ford 500. It's also an exceptional value at only $295 per month. And of course, with Landmark, you always get something more. Free tires for life. So see us today at Landmark Ford in Tigard. We're just off 55 at the Haynes Street exit.
At TNC Dodge in Wilsonville, it's the spring sales event. With menu value pricing, the largest indoor Dodge store has Ram 1500 Hemis priced at only $24,488, and the 2500 turbo diesels are $31,988. Service your Dodge with us and get free lifetime tires, plus 3 years of maintenance. With MVP pricing and one of the largest inventories in the Northwest, you'll save big. See America's hottest products only at TNC Dodge. We are Town & Country Dodge. Drive home happy.
Experience the internet like never before with Comcast high-speed internet. Powered by 100% pure broadband, you can watch the news unfold in full streaming video on Comcast.net, which also gives you access to your 7 different email accounts, even when you're away from home. There you'll also find The Fan, a unique way to view videos and content, and The Assistant, which lets you keep customized information on screen at all times.
Experience Tonkin.com using Comcast high-speed internet.
It's time for our quick takes on the media. Headline number 1, a star is born, or resurrected. NBC is planning to produce a pilot for a new TV series in which an Episcopal priest and his partner, a, quote, contemporary cool Jesus, help to solve the world's problems. The show is called The Book of Daniel, and it is said to be a darkly comedic drama. I love darkly comedic dramas. Don't you, Jane?
Well, I think that this is a good thing, to quote my friend, not really, Martha Stewart. I mean, I think it's interesting. There's this new show, Revelations. I mean, obviously...
That's a series, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, a limited series.
A limited series. Obviously, the media have awakened, I think, after the 2004 presidential election, to the fact that there's more interest in religion than maybe they thought.
Jim's smirking. You're not going to get away with it.
Oh, wait. I should have on my glasses so I could see this one.
Well, I mean, again, we talked about the culture of life. There's a culture of ratings. I mean, look, every network saw the Passion movie's success, and they all want to get on the Jesus train now. Right. And they're going to try and see what happens.
I feel about the networks doing something on the life of Jesus the way I would if the Klan announced it was going to produce Black History Month. What do these guys know about the central figure of the Christian faith? I am probably not going to watch. Let's remember that Touched by an Angel, for 9 seasons on CBS, 5 of them in the top 10, really set the standard for this sort of thing, and with dignity. I'm not looking for dignity on this.
Quick take headline number 2. He's a little late, but is he right? In less than 2 weeks, Prince Charles will marry for the 2nd time. This week, Ken Livingstone, the mayor of London, blamed the press for the death of Charles's first wife, and in strong language. If we didn't have this paparazzi nonsense, Princess Diana would be alive, the mayor told a radio interviewer. Bad journalism actually takes people's lives. Neil.
I assume he's speaking figuratively rather than literally, because there are some people who believe that
we thought
the press
literally
actually killed
Yes,
Princess
because
Di.
they were chasing her.
Right, but look, there's a symbiotic relationship between celebrities and the press. They need one another. Princess Di invited the press in, used the press when she wanted him, and then tried to keep them at arm's length when she didn't want them. So it's a little bit disingenuous to say, gosh, you know, the gossipy press and paparazzi are killing celebrities. Celebrities don't exist without paparazzi.
How can you sit there and criticize a politician for disingenuous? What's he doing?
What I would add, let's put the media in this pot too. Mayor of London, blast media. Media thank Mayor of London for keeping the Princess Diana story alive 8 years after her death.
Very well taken point, Jane.
I think, that, let me speak up for Princess Diana. She was about a teenager when she married him, and I think the House of Windsor is partially responsible for inviting the media into her life.
The paparazzi stalk a lot of people, not all of them die. She made the decision she made, as tragic as it was. There was a switch of cars as well, many other factors, people drinking, driving fast through the tunnel. It's not all the media's fault.
Quick take headline number 3. Oprah Winfrey makes $300 million a year, but that ain't stopping her. She is going to live in a Chicago slum for a month and do a TV documentary about it. She will have private security guards with her at all times, but other than that, says a spokesperson, she'll fend for herself, put herself right there on the front lines of poverty. Then when she's done taping, she'll buy the whole city of Chicago and airlift the slums to Wichita.
Hey.
The last of that is an exaggeration. The rest of it, Neil, strange to say, is true.
Yeah, listen, I
Can
suppose
something constructive come out of Oprah living in a ghetto for a month?
I'm not a huge Oprah fan, but I think she's to be commended for bringing attention to this. On the other hand, I mean, she will be the first person in a ghetto who has a full domestic staff.
Well, she'll be able to hire people right there in the ghetto.
If she eats the food, she's going to bulk up like some of the others. But look, I like Oprah, and I think she has raised a lot of serious questions, and a lot of frivolous ones too, of course. But I think if she can connect her audience with people who are truly poor, that, to quote Martha Stewart, could be a good thing.
Don't quote Martha Stewart again. Just go ahead.
I won't. I'll refrain. She went to Africa and highlighted AIDS in Africa. I mean, I think if you are a celebrity and you try to make decent use of it, you try to highlight things you think are important issues. I mean, a lot of government officials aren't highlighting some of these important social issues, so bravo to her for trying it.
The so-called Oprah effect works sometimes on make books bestsellers. It failed on the movie Beloved. It failed on the Pontiac giveaway plan. We'll see. I do think it's a little cynical, though, on her part.
Yeah, but we've just completed a segment in which the most cynical person here was me, and that doesn't happen very often because I'm generally sweeter natured than the others. We have to take one more break for the others to digest that. When we come back, it'll be your turn.
How many days is 3 weeks?
21.
Won't you miss your room?
A little bit.
Won't you miss Rocky?
You know what I'm gonna miss the most?
What?
This face.
Miss you,
Parkwood. Welcome to Residence Inn.
Residence Inn. All suites with all the comforts.
This allergy season, ask your doctor about something different. Singulair. While many seasonal allergy medicines block histamine, Singulair works differently by blocking leukotrienes, an underlying cause of seasonal allergy symptoms. And one prescription Singulair helps relieve a broad range of seasonal allergy symptoms for a full 24 hours. Side effects are generally mild and vary by age, and may include headache, ear infection, sore throat, and upper respiratory infection. Singulair, a different way to treat seasonal allergies.
Presenting Blue from American Express, the card with no annual fee and an introductory rate of 0% for up to 15 months with a low APR after. Call 1-800-600-BLUE to get yours. You can pay over time, which makes this card remarkably flexible. It has a free rewards program with so many choices, it'll make your head spin. Plus, the card remembers your passwords and gives you extra security online. All this with an introductory rate of 0% for up to 15 months and a low APR after. Call 1-800-600-BLUE now to apply. Blue from American Express.
From humble beginnings, he became one of the most powerful men of all time. Wars were waged in his name, yet his teachings were meant to inspire peace. Now, in a Fox in Focus special, we trace his footsteps back to the origin, how he lived, what he preached, and how one man continues to change the course of history. Join me as we travel back to the holiest sites to find out who is Jesus.
A Fox in Focus special, Sunday.
About John Kerry suggesting that the media might have played at least a small role in his defeat last November, here is Lloyd from Grand Junction, Colorado. Why can't he and others who lost just admit to the obvious and simply state, while I strongly disagree, the majority of the voters believe that my opponent would do a better job? Wouldn't that be refreshing? About the congressional hearings into steroid use in baseball, here is Carol from Toms River, New Jersey. Many in the media were so moved by the weepy steroid parents. The two stories everyone missed are, one, why do high school football players experience unnatural growth spurts that aren't noticed by their parents? And two, why do the chess and journalism clubs seem never to be affected by those same strange growth spurts? Where's the investigation? And Doug from Webster, Wisconsin, Congress is simply throwing stones at baseball from a glass house for their own political careers. The media played right into it. About media coverage of Ashley Smith, here is David from Covina, California. A woman's husband was killed. She saves her life and maybe others, and I hear cynicism from Neil and Jim because she wants to look nice and make some money. Don't you guys do the same? After all, this is America. About the FCC's decision that this is not indecent, here is Doyle from Orange Park, Florida. The American families ruled the NFL commercial was a bad thing, especially during family viewing times. The FCC is overruled on this point. And PF from Tacoma, Washington, many of us have no choice in having cable reception. An aerial on my house brings in 2 local channels only. Yes, I pay for cable, not by choice. As long as that is the situation, the FCC should watch what you say as well as my local channels. Finally, here's Andy from Gainesville, Florida. Thanks for the show. It should be expanded to 1 hour at least. The mix of opinions and personalities is superb. However, because of Jane's great attractiveness, could she please be given as much camera time as the 4 fellows combined? Here's our address. If you'd like to write to us, it's newswatch@foxnews.com. Please write to us. When you do, let us know your name and where you live. That is all the time we have left for this week. Thanks to Jane Hall, Jane Hall, Jane Hall, Jane Hall.
And I'm Jane Hall, thanking you for watching. Happy Easter. See you next week.
And by the way, when we do see you next week, it'll be back to normal. I hope you enjoyed it, Jane.
I enjoyed my moment.
We'll be back on the air again, as Jane said, next week. We hope to see you then.
And
This is a Fox News alert. You are looking live at Pinellas Park, Florida, where emotions are running high outside the hospice where Terri Schiavo clings to life. Now, 8 days without food or water. Good evening, everybody. I'm Rita Cosby. And just a short time ago, the Florida Supreme Court dismissed another attempt by Terri Schiavo's parents to have their brain-damaged daughter's feeding tube reconnected. Her husband's attorney says she's dying peacefully and painlessly, but her desperate and outraged parents are running out of legal options. Let's go straight to Julie Banderas for the very latest. Julie.
Hi, Rita. Well, you know, no matter which way, which side you agree with, this right to die contentious battle is sadly coming to a bitter end. We've been talking with the Schindler family, desperately trying to get that feeding tube reinserted. But after a state court has rejected their final appeal, now the family asking, a family spokesperson asking the protesters to go home and be with their family, as now the Schindlers have to start the grieving process. Terri Schiavo, the woman in the middle with no voice, is living out her wish, and that is according to Michael Schiavo. We've been telling you all along, Terri's husband and legal guardian. And despite all the appeals by the Schindler's family, her parents, brother, and sister, Michael Schiavo's attorney, George Filo, said earlier today, Terri's suffering has gone on long enough, and soon, in a painless and peaceful way, Terri will finally rest in peace.
She looked beautiful. In all the years I've seen Mrs. Schiavo, I've never seen such a look of peace and beauty upon her.
Now, Terri's brother Bobby Schindler says her condition is nothing but horrific and insists George Filos to allow the rest of the world to see what Terri looks like after Terri now going 8 days with no food or water.
She looked beautiful. In all the years I've seen Mrs. Schiavo, I've never seen such a look of peace and beauty upon her.
Obviously, George Filo speaking there. That's Michael Schiavo's attorney. But soon you're going to be hearing from Bobby Schindler. He is Terri's brother, who has basically been spending the past 15 years urging some sort of emergency injunction every time this feeding tube is removed. This is now the third time. 8 days Terri has gone with no food or water. Now their only hope really is if Governor Bush were to step in and have some sort of, state. They basically want to have Terri taken into state custody. But Governor Bush has maintained that he will not go against the court's order, which has prohibited for him to do so. That's the very latest, though, Rita.
All right, Julie, thank you very much. And again, the very latest that Julie was just telling us just a short bit ago, they were telling the protesters to go home. Again, the other development is that apparently Terri Schiavo has been denied her final communion. The family desperately wanted that, saying that, of course, tomorrow is Easter. But so far, we have been told that she has been denied that, and they're going to seek maybe some legal action, possibly on legal rights, saying that her religious rights have been violated. And again, pleading for Governor Jeb Bush to get involved. Let's go, if we could, right now to Terri's brother, Bobby Schindler. Bobby, first of all, how are you doing tonight and the whole family? This has got to be so anguishing.
Yeah, sir. Well, we're not doing very good at all, Rita.
How is Terri doing? You know, we're hearing so many, different... You must be stunned, and we are stunned when we hear this. George Filo saying she looks beautiful. She's resting peacefully. What do you say?
Yeah, well, ask my mom if she's doing beautifully. Mr. Filo seems to have some sick obsession with death, and it's hard to imagine a person, my sister, dying by dehydration and starvation, is dying peacefully and painlessly and looks beautiful. That's just the most ludicrous thing I think I've ever heard.
You know, we just heard that she was denied communion. I think a lot of people felt that it was appropriate for her to get that. What's the family's reaction? Are you stunned that he's not giving you guys an inch?
Well, he did this back in 2003. In fact, Monsignor Malinowski's a 80-year-old retired brigadier general, was told he'd be arrested immediately if he tried to put anything in Terri's mouth, and I guess the same thing is happening again this evening.
What does this say to you about Michael Schiavo as a man?
Well, I'm not going to comment on that. Michael's he knows what he's doing. Right now, I'm just going to concentrate on, being strong for my mom and my family, and just praying to God that, we have, we get through this okay.
And it's got to be tough for you. There is one thing I do want to talk with you about, a couple things, Bobby. one thing that hasn't really been focused on, he was looking at funeral homes in 1993. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's absolutely. Well, there's evidently there's a file exists from a funeral home here locally that Michael was looking to burial plots back in 1993. And there's just so many other questionable circumstances that we never had the chance to investigate. The state attorney here locally refused to investigate, and it just it's very troubling for our family that the person that is actually carrying out my sister's death could in fact been the one that put her in this condition in the first place.
Do you believe that he is the cause as to why she collapsed? Is that a possibility that he created this?
Well, the evidence suggests that, and it's also troubling to our family to know that Michael is going to have Terry's body cremated immediately upon her death, and that was just recently petitioned in front of Judge Greer, and Judge Greer is allowing this to happen. So, we'll never have a chance to look at Terry and find out how she received broken bones that occurred throughout her body back in 1993.
Are you going to try to fight to get...
1991.
1991. Are you going to try to fight to get an autopsy too, Bobby?
Well, I don't know. I haven't spoken to our attorneys about that right now. Right now, I'm just, I'm very concerned about, well, naturally my sister Terry, but very concerned about my mother, knowing that she has to, experience and watch her daughter die in this fashion. It is the most horrific, barbaric, and heinous act of, ever for anyone to have to experience.
Michael Schiavo's brother Scott did an interview, a brief interview with Fox, and a lot of us are very stunned, Bobby, about this. I don't think you've heard this yet. He basically said that your parents are taking away Terry's dignity by making this a public issue, and that they're lies and deceiving people. What do you say to Michael Schiavo's people? A lot of people are disgusted that they're saying this now.
Yeah, well, Michael had the chance to give guardianship back to my parents back in 1993. My father wrote Michael a letter and just asked him to give Terry back. And, no one can understand why Michael's so adamant on having Terry killed this way. A family is standing by, willing and ready to take care of Terry. Michael's been with another woman for 10 years. That's twice as long that he was married to Terry. He has 2 children with this woman. And, Michael has his own family, and we've been asking, just give Terry back to her family so she can be taken care of, as a disabled adult. And Terry's being killed simply because she's disabled. And as I said, this is absolutely barbaric what is happening to her right now.
I want to set the record straight because it is final times here. Unfortunately, no admittance record. Still, you guys have never received when she collapsed in February 1990, went to that hospital room, right?
That is absolutely correct. The only thing we had was a discharge summary, and there were some disturbing things in the discharge summary as well.
Is it possible that he may have created this, that he caused these horrible injuries? He abused your sister, possibly.
Well, as I said, Rita, the evidence certainly suggests that. We never had the opportunity to investigate this, to see, in fact, if that was the case. The state attorney office came back to us after we requested it and said, even if Michael did do this to Terry by some violent act, it was past the 4-year statute of limitation. So we were just we were handcuffed. We tried to get an investigation, but we were never able. And now my sister is going to die at the hands of this man.
And finally, Bobby, tonight, what would you say to Governor Jeb Bush and also to the American public if they're watching?
Well, we appreciate everything that everybody's done. We're told that the governor is still able to intervene. We're praying and begging, if that is in fact true, that the governor would. But we're just very grateful for the outpouring of support that we've been receiving, and it's just it's really been lifting us up through this horrible ordeal.
Well, Bobby, our prayers are with you tonight and your family, and we'll be thinking a lot about you. Thanks so much for being with us.
All right. Thank you, Rita.
Thanks, Bobby. And we're going to hear from Michael Schiavo's camp right after the break. What did they have to say about these allegations of abuse? And later, Jessica Lunsford was remembered in an emotional service today, but could her brutal abduction and murder by a sexual predator have been prevented? We'll have the explosive audio tape of John Cooey in his own chilling words, admitting to molesting another little girl. It's a big story exclusive you will not want to miss.
The captioning for this program is brought to you by...
On sale at PC Mall. Thin and light wireless laptop from HP. Only $649. Free printer, free shipping. Call 1-8884-PC-MALL, PCMall.com.
You haven't seen The Incredibles until you've seen The Incredibles on DVD. Featuring the all-new animated short, Jack Jack Attack.
The Incredibles. Disney presents a Pixar film. Own it on DVD today.
Forecast, plenty of sunshine through today with seasonal
Hello? Oh, hey!
Smoke and soot from even a small fire can cause odors in your home for years to come. Unless you call the cleanup experts at 1-800-SERVPRO, like it never even happened.
Travelocity presents The Roaming Gnome, denouncer of travel myths. Our first myth, it's hard work to find the best airfare.
Not true of Travelocity. Just search once, and if there's a lower fare at a different airport or on a different day, they'll show you.
Myth number 2, American appliances don't work in Europe.
Oh, grow up. Ah! Am I going to die?
More ways to find the lowest fare. Book with Travelocity, and you'll never roam alone.
Sometimes seeing the need to protect yourself is obvious. But if you have diabetes, helping to protect your heart may not be obvious, even though you watch your diet. Diabetes puts you at high risk for heart attack and stroke, so talk to your doctor about ways to help protect your heart. The Heart Protection Study proves Zocor, along with diet, significantly reduced the risk of both heart attack and stroke in people with diabetes, including those with normal cholesterol and normal blood sugar. Zocor is not for everyone, including people with liver problems, women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Muscle pain or weakness could be a sign of a rare but serious side effect. Zocor may interact with other medicines or certain foods, increasing your risk of getting the serious side effect. Simple blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. If you have diabetes, ask your doctor if Zocor can help protect you, and go to Zocor.com to get your free book. It's your future. Be there.
Those opposed to carrying out Terry's wishes have tried to, lacking a legal case, have tried to stir up emotions and to get people angry and to have people believe that something wrong is occurring here. And it's just simply not the case.
And that was Michael Chavo's attorney, George Filos, earlier today, defending his client as accusations of wrongdoing continue to swirl. Fox News caught up with Michael Chavo's brother, Scott, and asked him why Michael has fought so hard to have Terry's feeding tube removed. Here's some of what he had to say.
Mike's just trying to let Terry to grant this promise, to fulfill this promise that they made, and he's also trying to let her die with some dignity left. And their parents have taken all that dignity away by putting videos and pictures of her that she would be totally crazy about if she would have known it. And it's just, you know, this has turned into a bunch of smoke and mirrors by the Schindlers, the lies, the deceptions.
And you can catch that full interview with Scott Chavo. That is tonight on At Large with Geraldo right after the show. So be sure to stick around for that whole interview. You're going to be pretty shocked as to what he has to say. But right now, joining me on the phone from Florida is one of Michael Chavo's attorneys, Hamden Baskin. Mr. Baskin, I first got to ask you, I think it sounds pretty unseemly that you hear Scott Chavo, these poor parents are waiting right now. You know, the clock is ticking on their daughter, and he's saying that they have no dignity.
You said Scott Chavo?
Yeah, Scott Chavo, Michael Chavo's brother, says essentially, I heard the whole interview, he says that the Schindlers are humiliating their daughter by showcasing her, that they're filled with lies and deceptions. I mean, isn't that unseemly?
Well, it is a very emotionally charged situation, and I think really at this point this successive onslaught of motions brought piece by piece, instead of all at one time, in a more orderly production, has ripped the heart out of Michael day by day as he watches his wife go into her dying process and desperately wishes for privacy. Every day he gets calls from the lawyers. There's another appeal. Now it's in the Supreme Court. He asked, could they possibly direct the tube to be reinserted? And the answer from his lawyers is yes, they have the power.
Well, Mr. Baskin, let me just ask you, do you understand why a lot of people in the public do not like this man? He's not turning over the admittance records. Tonight, he's refused communion for this woman. Tomorrow's Easter. They're a very Catholic, devoted family. And also, this I was surprised about, plans to cremate her and have her placed next to his family.
Yes.
Does he have any compassion for this family, for her family?
Well, Michael loves his wife very dearly, and he is carrying out all of her wishes.
But are her wishes, sir, to totally alienate her family?
That has been their choice throughout this entire process. And there were hearings last week concerning the medical records. Michael Shivo has never refused to turn anything over that was lawfully requested. These medical records are reviewed and have been reviewed. You yourself have heard doctor after doctor say they've looked at over 4,000 pages of information.
Yeah, but and if you listen, there's some doctors who say she's not in a vegetative state. Sir, what do you say about an autopsy? Because a lot of people are saying he should maybe give her an autopsy just to even put these rumors to rest.
Well, that's something that I'm not really prepared to address tonight.
Would you advise him to at least say that, just so the public can say, okay, there isn't anything?
I wouldn't dare over the telephone on a newscast, but that is a very serious question. It's one that will be taken up in the appropriate course, of course. But to answer your original question, if you follow what I'm saying, it is time for both the Schindlers and the Shivos to let Terry have her time to pass in private and not continue to make a spectacle out of this. And that's what's so important right now, and I'm sure that's what motivated Scott. It is time. He has seen his brother's heart ripped out day after day. We just now learned from the Supreme Court, 15, 20 minutes ago, that they denied an emergency appeal by the Schindlers, which was filed subsequent to the 12 o'clock ruling by Judge Greer. Now, these things just absolutely stop everyone's heart, and it is now time to let the lawyers get out of the case and let both families have the quality time that Terry deserves. She deserves better.
Absolutely. And, sir, we definitely agree. And, again, our prayers are with everybody involved, and we do appreciate you being in.
Absolutely.
And I know it has been hard for him as well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And joining me now is Dr. Jay Wolfson, who served as Terry's court-appointed guardian in 2003. Dr. Wolfson, you know both of these families. Let's talk about the abuse allegations. Did you ever see anything, or did Michael appear to be very loving towards Terry?
All the information that I saw, Rita, and I reviewed over 30,000 pages of medical records and legal records, pleadings. I got to know the Schindlers. I spent as much time as I could with them. I spent time with Michael. And during the 30 days that I had to conduct the work that was mandated by the legislature and the courts to report to the governor and the courts, I spent about 20 days with Terry, sometimes as often as 4 hours a day. I spent time with Terry and her parents, Terry and Michael. I saw no evidence in the record that there was any abuse. When I spoke with Michael early on, I asked him questions. I said, what was it like being with her? What were your dreams? What were your hopes? And we talked for quite a while, and at one point during our conversation, Michael broke down and cried. Mary and Bob are wonderful people. These are warm, caring, loving, good people. And this is just an extraordinary human tragedy. But,
it is, and you can see the anguish. And also, having met Terry, sir, the one thing that we all have to think about tonight is we hear the family saying, to the protesters, go home. You can tell it's a very somber weekend. What are your thoughts this weekend, as unfortunately it sounds like time's running out?
Oh, it's a painful weekend, I think, for Mary and Bob. I think it's a painful weekend for Michael as well. My hope is that when all is said and done, that Terry finds peace. That's the most important thing. She was a loving, a vibrant, exciting, fun-loving girl. She used to take in stray animals. She'd paint little things. She worked very hard to make herself look beautiful. She lost a lot of weight. They had a great relationship, and Michael loved her very much from all that I can see, all that I can hear, all that I can learn. But the enmity between the parties is such a sad thing.
No, it is. And Dr. Wolfson, we really appreciate your perspective tonight. Again, the advisor and also the guardian there for at least, about a month, right, in 2003?
Yes, Rita.
Thank you very much for being with us. And of coverage, of course, of the battle of the life or death of Terry Shivo is going to continue after this break. We're going to keep you posted on what is happening outside her hospice in Florida. And later, Philadelphia police need your help on finding a young couple who disappeared without a trace after a night on the town.
Two people don't just vanish. Their families and their friends have not seen them, but someone has.
Let's talk about better. When someone says something's better, it's usually just their opinion. So if you suffer from acid reflux disease, frequent heartburn, and I told you prescription Nexium heals acid-related damage in the esophagus better, you'd want proof. And now, your doctor has that proof. Recent medical studies prove Nexium heals that damage better than the other leading prescription medicine. No wonder they call Nexium the healing purple pill. This is big news, so call your doctor today and ask if Nexium is right for you. Because if left untreated, the damage could get worse. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. The most common side effects of Nexium are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. Hey, with Nexium, you don't just feel better, you are better. And better is better. For a free trial offer for Nexium, visit us at purplepill.com or call 1-800-4-NEXIUM.
Active trader? You've come to the right place. TD Waterhouse Trade Central. Customize it to fit your style. Choose your tools. Arrange them your way. Save your views. Trade advanced options. Get one-click order entry. Ready to pull the trigger? Trade from any tool. Trades are a flat $9.95. No limit order fees. Unlimited shares. Make it your place. TD Waterhouse Trade Central. Open an account and get a month of free trades.
Alexandria Pachiknikov had forged an impressive business career by thrusting when conventional wisdom told others to parry. So it came as no surprise that in matters of personal well-being, she was quick to shout, "En garde." She addressed her naysayers thus: "Why pay for insurance I shall scantily use?" The ensuing silence spoke volumes. Touche HSA, the Regent's Health Savings Account. Take charge healthcare for take charge people.
I'm feeling like Mr. Lucky today. Things seem to be going my way.
Shop anytime, right from home. HSN.
Putting up a tremendous battle to live. And it's quite obvious she's not thrown the towel. She doesn't want to die. And she's showing signs of over a week now of starvation and lack of hydration. But I can tell you and assure you she is fighting like hell to stay alive. And I want the powers that be to know that. It's not too late to save her.
And that was Terry's father just a few hours ago saying that the fight is not over. But the Florida Supreme Court's rejection just a short time ago of the Schindlers' most recent petition, legal options appear to be dwindling. Let's bring in our panel, if we could. Florida defense attorney Janie Weintraub, also psychiatrist Dr. Carol Lieberman, forensic pathologist Dr. Cyril Wecht, and also with us on the phone, Dr. Michael Baden. Carol, I got to start with you because I understand that the Schindler family contacted you and put you sort of on hold, right?
Yes, I most recently am on the, they've wanted me to testify, and the judge so far has not allowed my testimony in.
What would you have said?
Well, I would have said that based upon a reasonable degree of medical certainty, that Michael Schiavo fits the profile of a wife abuser, and that he should be investigated and the two put back in so that there's time to really carry out justice and find out whether, in fact, what he's been saying to the court all this time, that these are Terry's wishes, are really her wishes and not his ulterior motives.
All right, let me bring in Janie, because Janie, I mean, aren't these all at this point just accusations? And at this point, the guy still has the legal standing.
That's not even, yes, you're right, Rita, but that's not the issue. As heart-wrenching as this is, as a mom and as a person watching all of this, as a lawyer, it's very crystal clear. One very narrow issue. What did Terry want? What were her wishes? What was her intent? And the court, at the time, held very lengthy evidentiary hearings. The judge was in the only position that's heard all the evidence in this case, made a finding which we have to abide by. That finding was Terry did not want to have artificial means to sustain her life. Period. That's all that matters. Everything else is a legal maneuver based on people's political, religious, or moral platforms that don't belong here. The one right that Terry Schiavo
just because we got a little limited time. Let me bring in Dr. Weck, because Dr. Weck, is there even a way to prove any of these allegations of abuse? I mean, especially if there's an autopsy. At this point, there doesn't seem to be one.
No, I do not believe there is. And I have never heard anything of a definitive, tangible nature to corroborate the allegations that have been made about fractures. Keep in mind that if this had taken place, you have a conspiracy here, the dimensions of which have never been exceeded. All the physicians and all of the courts, and by the way, may I remind people, this is the same Florida Supreme Court and the U.S. Supreme Court, which ruled against Al Gore in the year 2000. These are not flaming liberals. You have a judicial system in place. You have a criminal investigative system. Where are the homicide detectives here? Look at the Klaus von Bülow case. You can go for attempted murder. You don't have to wait till somebody dies and bring murder charges. So if there were any tangible proof whatsoever that this man had inflicted physical injury upon her, what are the homicide detectives doing? All of the police departments in the state of Florida.
Let me bring in real quick Dr. Bodden, because let me bring in Dr. Bodden because he hasn't had a chance to make a comment. Dr. Bodden, you saw the 1993 bone scans of Terry. What did they include, and what did they exclude anything?
Well, there was a bone scan done in 1993 that showed some healed rib fractures, but it doesn't say when that happened. So it would be important to look at the admission findings, and if there was suspicion at all of any kind of domestic violence, as Dr. Weck says, the homicide people should have been called in at that time.
Well, Dr. Bodden, go ahead.
Yeah, and I do think that if there were trauma to the brain, a subdural hemorrhage or something at that time, an autopsy now could give evidence of that. There'd be changes for that. But there's no, all of her findings and the amount of her brain that's been destroyed are all consistent with the 10 or 15 minutes of cardiac arrest she suffered 17 years ago that destroyed most of her brain.
That's going to have to be the last word, guys. I'm so sorry. Thank you all very much. We appreciate it. And everybody stick around. Coming right back, more on the Terry Schiavo case and the latest on what Scott Peterson is doing.
Hello, everyone. I'm Janice Dean. An ailing Pope John Paul II is expected to make a brief Easter Sunday appearance. The Pope missed an Easter vigil on Saturday. We don't know if he'll speak when he appears at the window overlooking St. Peter's Square. When that happens, we'll have it live for you right here on the Fox News channel. On Saturday, a man police say is convicted with murdering and mental problems climbed onto the dome of St. Peter's after several hours. Firefighters finally brought him down. The man most likely to be Iraq's prime minister says a new government may be around the corner. Ibrahim al-Jafari said he thinks agreements may be days away. It follows nearly 2 months of negotiations trying to divide top cabinet posts among religious and ethnic groups. A bomb blows up in a Christian neighborhood in Beirut. The blast injured 5 people, destroyed cars, and shattered windows. It was the third such attack in the Lebanese capital in 8 days. The Defense Department may change the way military tribunals are used to try foreign terror suspects, according to the New York Times. The proposed changes appear in a draft manual circulating among Pentagon lawyers. They increase defendants' rights, make tribunals more like traditional military court-martials. A security snafu at a Los Angeles airport coming as a report criticizes new airline passenger screening procedures. Catherine Herridge has more from Washington.
2 developments on airline security. The first comes from the West Coast, a security foul-up at LAX. A decoy bomb used for training was left at the airport, and the bomb-sniffing dog missed it. Apparently, it was an FBI agent who finally found it and alerted airport police. A TSA source pointing out that no system is perfect, adding that training the dogs is one thing, but ultimately it comes down to how they're handled and cared for by the airport authority. In this case, investigators say there was never any chance the explosive powder could have gone gone off. Now LAPD promising new security procedures for their officers to follow. The second story coming from the internal watchdog for Homeland Security, the Inspector General doing an assessment of the Transportation Security Administration and its handling of passenger information. At the heart of this report, efforts post 9/11 to create screening procedures that would keep terrorists off airlines. The report finding that in 2002 and 2003, the TSA was inconsistent in the way it handled passenger information. About 12 million passenger records from JetBlue, America West, American Airlines, Delta, Continental, and Frontier were transferred by the TSA to contractors who were developing screening systems. The report saying the media and Congress were misled by the TSA, not outright lies, but statements were made based on an incomplete understanding of the facts. The 84-page report saying TSA did not ensure that privacy protections were in place for all of the passenger data transfers. Shortcomings were also apparent in the agency's related contracting, oversight, and follow-up efforts. A TSA spokesman telling Fox there was, quote, no ill intent, and he conceded the passengers should have been notified. That said, the TSA says there are better safeguards in place now to protect passenger information. In Washington, Catherine Herridge, Fox News.
An overnight storm pounding Austin, Texas with golf ball-sized hailstones. They came with powerful destructive winds. Lots of cars were damaged. The falling ice chunks took out windows in one Austin apartment complex. And two of the final four teams are set in the NCAA college basketball tournament. One of the two, the University of Illinois, beat Arizona 90-89 in overtime. They'll meet the University of Louisville Cardinals in the semifinals, who came from a 20-point behind to beat West Virginia 93-85. More headlines in 1 hour. Fox News Channel.
Well, the man accused of snatching a 10-year-old girl from her Iowa home was arraigned today on one count of child stealing. Roger Bentley, there he is, a registered sex offender, was taken into custody yesterday in connection with Thursday's abduction of jet setter Marie Gage, whose disappearance set off a statewide Amber Alert. Investigators discovered the body of a young girl yesterday at an abandoned mobile home in a rural area about 45 miles south of the girl's home. But police are waiting on autopsy results to confirm if the body is Giusetta's. This comes as close to 1,000 relatives, neighbors, and friends gathered just a few hours ago to remember 9-year-old Jessica Lunsford in an emotional memorial service in Florida. Jessica's father, Mark, spoke about the abduction and slaying that has devastated their small community.
I work all my life, and I raise kids all my life. And someone has taken this away from me. And we need to make a lot of changes, and I know that there are people here today that are going to make this happen for other children. It is only about the children. They are our future.
And joining me now on the phone is Abby Van Sickle of the St. Petersburg Times newspaper. Abby, you were at this memorial service. It sounds like it was just a beautiful outpouring of support for this great family.
Yes, yes.
Tell me about it. It sounds like everybody came out, family, friends, relatives, even the police department, right?
Yes, many of the law enforcement officers who worked on this case were sitting on stage at the memorial service.
You know, I have to ask you, from an investigative standpoint, there's word now that the probation officer in the area there had no idea this guy was a sex offender. How is that possible?
Well, Cooey was on probation for misdemeanor charges that had nothing to do with his prior sex offenses, and the county probation officials have said that they don't routinely do background checks of people who are on probation, and so they had no idea that he was a registered sex offender in Florida.
That's amazing. Abby, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And let's bring in now, if we could, sex crimes prosecutor Stacey Honowitz and also private investigator Bo Dietl. Before I start with both of you, I want to play for the first time here on Fox a taped confession of John Evander Cooey from 1991, where he admitted to molesting another little girl, this one 5 years old. His words are chilling. Take a listen.
I asked her if she wanted to play hide and go seek, and she said yes. So we did. And I asked her, and after we played that for a little while, I asked her to come over and sit down. And she did. I did take my penis out.
Okay, when she sat down, where did she sit down?
She sat on my lap.
She sat on your lap, okay.
Yeah, voluntarily. I didn't force her to do it, voluntarily. And I took my penis out, but I did not take her clothes off, nothing like that. I did not molest her. I didn't take her hand, made her touch my penis, but as far as that, I did not actually get off. And then her parent mother come out and yelled for it, and I took off. I feel that prison ain't gonna help me. I feel that I need help for myself, and that's why I'm confessing, to my crime that I committed tonight, because I want help for myself, so I will never have to do this again.
Bo, this is stunning. He says, I want help. I'm going to do this again. And sure enough, he did. How often, a former New York City homicide detective, you've covered a lot of cases like this. Did these guys often reoffend?
It's time after time. After every 3 or 4 months, something happens, and it's happening in Florida so much. I mean, they have them down as a sex offender. Then they have it called a sex predator. Sex offenders and sex predators are both registered, but the predators are the ones that you could go online and find out if they're living in your neighborhood. This fellow was arrested over 23 times for burglary. One time he went into a bedroom, he climbed on top of a young girl, and he was sentenced to 10 years. He did 2 years. I mean, this is happening over and over. I mean, they should dress him in pink when they put him in jail now, so when this way he has the people in jail to take care of him. This is so disgusting to listen to that, what we just heard there. And I'm a father of 2 daughters and 2 sons, and this creep is out there, and the justice system keeps failing and failing again. We'll be sitting here months from now, and it'll happen again, because these predators go on, and they keep doing it until we incarcerate them for the rest of their lives, and that's it.
Stacey, I mean, what do we do? I mean, this guy self-admittedly says, look, I need help. I'm going to do this again.
Listen, Rita, this is just a horrible situation. And down here in Florida, you see so much of it. Our registration requirements are not what they're supposed to be. And what has to happen is these people have to get longer sentences, or we need to put them on GPS tracking devices. Because if you read our statute down here, it says that when these predators move into an area, they have a duty to register. Well, what would be their motivation or their incentive to go and register? They don't want to be known. That's how they operate.
Well,
we
and
need
in fact, Stacey, look at
a national database.
Stacey, look at even what we were just Abby Van Sickle, the local reporter down there, was just saying that even the probation officer didn't know that apparently they sent a letter. What Abby wasn't able to explain because we didn't have a lot of time. Apparently, they sent a letter and said, look, you've missed your probation appearance. That was in December. He kills Jessica Lunsford in February.
And there's no follow-up. And if you came into court, I've been doing this for 17 years. If you came into my courtroom on a daily basis, you would see how many cases we have of failure to register as a sexual predator. Those cases are now overtaking the original charges.
Bo, go ahead.
You actually had him working in 2 schools, including this little girl's school, as a construction worker. There's no background done on him. I mean, these are things that are falling through the cracks, and they got to tighten this up. As far as I'm concerned, when you're a sex offender or predator, you should be on a probation for the rest of your lives and reporting where they know where they are.
Stacey, you got 5 seconds.
Down here, the sexual offenders and predators, there should not be a difference between the two. And down here, we separate them, and that should never happen.
All right, guys, this is going to have to be the last word. Thank you, both of you. And coming up, Scott Peterson may be on death row, but is he off the market? The San Quentin switchboard has been flooded with calls from women all across the nation looking to make a love connection with the double murderer. You cannot believe it. We're going to have the shocking details. And police need your help tonight in finding a couple who mysteriously vanished from a popular nightclub. We'll hear from the young daughter of the missing man who desperately wants her father home.
I just need him back, please.
Call now for the Gold Delta Sky Miles credit card from American Express and start earning double miles at supermarkets, gas stations, and lots of other places. Fly free twice as fast on Delta or 20 other airlines. Apply now and get 10,000 Sky Miles with your first purchase. Call 1-800-AXP-3400. Call now for the Gold Delta Sky Miles credit card. For every eligible dollar you spend, you can earn 2 Sky Miles for even faster travel awards to nearly 500 destinations. Plus, earn 10,000 bonus miles, and the card is fee-free the first year. Try getting all that from another card. Call 1-800-AXP-3400.
When you come to Las Vegas, you want to be in the middle of the action without spending a fortune on your room. This can become a real balancing act. But right now, Circus Hotel and Casino is making it easy with this exclusive TV offer. If you call now, you can stay under the big top in the heart of the Strip at a special discount rate. While you're here, catch our free circus acts and enjoy our 7 fine restaurants, including the Steakhouse, voted the best in Las Vegas. You'll also get $4 off admission to the Adventure Dome theme park, the largest indoor theme park in North America, with over 5 acres of rides and attractions. And if you call now, you'll receive a bonus 2-for-1 dinner buffet and a free fun book worth over $100. So don't clown around with your vacation plans. Call Circus now and take advantage of the best deal on the Las Vegas Strip.
This allergy season, ask your doctor about something different. Singulair. While many seasonal allergy medicines block histamine, Singulair works differently by blocking leukotrienes, an underlying cause of seasonal allergy symptoms. And one prescription Singulair helps relieve a broad range of seasonal allergy symptoms for a full 24 hours. Side effects are generally mild and vary by age, and may include headache, ear infection, sore throat, and upper respiratory infection. Singulair, a different way to treat seasonal allergies.
I just wanted to say I'm ecstatically happy today and very, very proud to have married Richard and to be his wife.
And that was Doreen Ramirez. And the Richard that she's talking about is her husband, Richard Ramirez, the infamous Night Stalker killer, whom she courted and married while he was on death row. And Ramirez isn't the only death row inmate being wooed behind bars. Get this. Scott Peterson has already received 2 marriage proposals since moving to San Quentin just over a week ago. And I'm joined now by 2 men who actually attended the Richard Ramirez wedding on death row, San Quentin spokesman Vernell Crittenden, and also Phil Carlo. He's the author of the book, The Night Stalker. Vernell, I'm going to start with you. What did Scott Peterson do during his first week in San Quentin?
Well, he spent a great deal of time, Rita, inside of his cell. He's been going through some various orientation to death row with the administrative staff. I had the opportunity to go inside the building, and I noticed him in discussions with the administrators on Monday. And he seemed to be in good health, very alert, very cooperative. Spent much of his time inside of his cell reading. He has received his first mail on Wednesday. So he's been engaged pretty much with activities inside of his 41-square-foot cell. All right, hey, Vernell, if you can stick around, I want to bring in right now Phil Carlo. Phil, you interviewed Richard Ramirez. You spent a lot of time with him. You went to the wedding. What was that like on death row?
Well, first I want to say hello to Vernell. I haven't seen him in a long time. How are you?
You haven't seen him since the wedding,
No, I haven't
right?
seen him since the wedding, exactly. Well, it was bizarre to say the least. Basically, the ceremony, for want of a better word, took place in the visiting area, and there was a pastor, and they had a little ceremony. And as I was standing there watching it, I noticed that everyone became respectfully quiet. And I turned around, and basically we're in a room, it's about 100 by 100, filled with convicted murderers, many of whom are serial killers. And there was like this hush. They all became quiet so Richard could have the wedding.
What was the line? There's apparently a line that the pastor at the wedding didn't say.
Well, I was listening to the ceremony, and he didn't. I went over and I said, I noticed that, by the way, you didn't say until death do you part. Why didn't you say that? He said, that's bad form on death row. Oh, of course it's bad form.
Absolutely. Yeah. Phil, thank you very much. Very interesting insights. And Vernell, why are people attracted, why are women particularly attracted to people like Richard Ramirez and Scott Peterson?
Well, it's been a phenomenon that I've experienced, and their commitment to these men on death row that they have met after they've gotten their death sentence is very genuine. I've known women that have postponed their knee surgeries because they would find it would be difficult to come up to visit the death row inmate. So there have been women that have had the cases on death row where they've been moved to counties as Los Angeles, as far away as Los Angeles County, And the women would then up and move down to Los Angeles County so they could be near them. And then once they were once again given the death sentence and he was returned to death row, then that person moved back up to the Bay Area and continued visiting with their husband on death row. So it's something that they're very, very committed to. And they're women that come from all walks of life.
And how do they meet them, though, Vernell? I mean, that's the thing that's amazing. How do they run into them, or how do they decide, okay, I'm going to write this guy?
You know, actually, they seek them out. They just this week, I've had a number of calls that I personally have dealt with women that were calling the institution so they can get Scott Peterson's mailing address so they could begin to write to him.
And finally, you told me that he's doing some reading. Last time you were on, he was reading a Western. I understand he's finished that. And now he's starting to read a book called Pitfalls by a former San Quentin inmate who actually had on the show last week with you, Michael Tomlinson. Tell us about that, why that's significant.
Well, I think that book's going to give him some of the strategies that he needs to survive prison. These next 20 years that he'll be on death row, I think he'll find some comfort in some of the words that were written by Michael Tomlinson. And that was a book that went into him on Thursday. It was shipped in, as I'm aware of, and so he now has that in his possession.
Vernell, thanks so much. Always great to have you on, and I'm sure we'll have you back soon. We appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Rita, and say hello to Paul.
No, I will, thanks. And turning now to the tale of the tapes. Newly obtained videotape the Peterson jury never got to see. Could it have changed Scott Peterson's fate? Court TV's Beth Karras joins us now with the details of the tale of the tape. This is a tape we haven't seen here on Fox yet. Tell us, first of all, how you guys got it and where you guys got it from.
I can't disclose where I got it.
But tell us, it came from the defense side.
Well, it is a defense tape, and you can draw whatever conclusions you want from that. The judge did not permit the jury to see this. There were a lot of in-camera, in-chambers hearings about this.
And we're looking at it now. Show us, kind of walk us through why it sounds like it was not also admitted in court.
Okay. Mark Garagos wanted to introduce this during his case to show that the prosecution's theory of how Scott Peterson dumped Lacey's pregnant body, dead, out of the boat was implausible because the boat would have capsized. So this is an employee on the boat there who was in the courtroom through most of the trial, Rafi.
Yes, who I got talked to almost all the time in court.
And he is trying to dump this dummy. You know, this is a boat that became a shrine outside the courthouse during jury deliberations. It's an exact model of the one that Scott had purchased. This is the one take. It leans. He doesn't seem to distribute his weight at all to try to balance it. He falls in along with the Lacey Peterson dummy. Judge said, you know, you can't replicate the conditions that day. You don't know the water, the wind, the conditions, where she was in the boat, exactly how he was positioning himself. And of course, their position is that he didn't do it, but we don't know of any other takes than this one.
Very interesting stuff. Thanks so much, and good job getting it. I won't ask you again where you got it from.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Ben. Good job from Court TV. And everybody at home, we're going to show you now a live picture outside the Florida hospice. This is where Terri Schiavo is at a vigil right now with all the family and friends standing by, as you heard, as she now spends an 8th day without food or water. We'll get a late-breaking update on her condition, which is deteriorating very rapidly by the hour. We'll have a late-breaking update when we come back and a lot more. Stick with us, everybody.
Twenty-first century trading is all about vision. Can you clearly see what the market is doing? That's why we created QuoteScope. Now watch level 2 data like never before, spot current trends, and trade with one click. All for just $10.99 per internet equity trade. It's the 21st century. Trade like it on our new website. Join Ameritrade today and get 30 commission-free internet equity trades.
Can't find my foot. I can't find my foot. Can't find my foot. Can you help me?
Gotcha. The magic of nighttime works better out here. Go on, pursue your passions. Go RVing. Call for a free video and visit an RV.
Hi folks, where do you go for the best sport utilities of any brand? Why, Beaverton Honda pre-owned, of course. Look at this 99. It's a Dodge Durango SLT fully loaded, only $12,977. That is a great buy. Or this 02 Nissan Pathfinder, also $12,977. Take your pick at Beaverton Honda Used Cars. 6-month, 6,000-mile warranty, 7-day right of exchange. Come see us.
When the unexpected happens, no one is more focused on getting things back to normal again than your farmer's agent. Isn't that what auto insurance is supposed to do? It's wonderful. Farmers Auto Insurance. Get you back where you belong.
To find a farmer's agent near you, call 1-800-FARMERS.
It may start with a look. It may start with a sound. It may start with the feel. It may start with the drive. Or it may just start with the price. The C230 Sports Sedan, starting at $29,970. How will it start for you?
Global web entrepreneur Neville Smithington viewed excess healthcare costs with the same contempt as an overweight alloy on an Aston Martin. Forthwith, when self-directed insurance became available, Neville goosed the throttle, leaving the aging artifice of traditional healthcare to eat his dust. Vroom, vroom, HSA. Rome. The Regent's Health Savings Account. Take charge healthcare for take charge people.
Solving a missing persons case tonight that has residents of Philadelphia fearing for their safety and asking, how can two people mysteriously disappear into the night?
Two people don't just vanish.
But Danielle Imbo and Richard Patrone Jr. did.
Their families and their friends have not seen them, but someone has.
February 19th, 2005, South Street in Philadelphia. A night on the town turned out to be a night of mystery when Rich and Danielle left this bar and have not been seen since. What's more, their truck is missing, but their credit cards have not been used and their cell phones have not been dialed. Now their families are desperate for any sign of the couple.
I need my daughter to come home. Marge needs her son to come home.
Police have combed the area in and around Philadelphia, searching for clues that so far have been scarce. Storage facilities, garages, cameras at ATM machines. Investigators seem to have looked everywhere, but to no avail. Even poring over surveillance tapes on area bridges. They have failed to bring them any closer to finding the couple.
One of the detectives said they don't believe in a flying saucer, so where are they? Where did they go?
One thing that's not a mystery in the couple's disappearance is the heart-wrenching month their families have spent wondering what could have happened.
I just need him back, please.
We're sad. We're very sad. We have a hole in our heart.
And joining me now is the family of Richard Patrone, his father Richard, mother Marge, and daughter Angela, and also still with us private investigator Bo Deedle, who stood with me in New York, who actually put up a $10,000 reward, which is good work on this case.
Well, the Patrone family has friends with friends of mine, and I heard about this ordeal several weeks ago. Was profiled in America's Most Wanted, and we have everybody out there. I want you to know the Philadelphia Police Department is giving all their resources and working very hard on this.
Oh, that's great. As I hope everybody is. And in fact, Richard, let me ask you, who should police be looking at right now? Is there anyone in mind or a suspect that you guys think they should be focusing in on?
Well, I think the one person that would have be of most interest to the police would be Danielle's estranged husband, Joe. There had been a record of threats against my son, and I think he's a person that needs to either be eliminated as a suspect or named a suspect.
And Mark, let me bring you in, because the day that Danielle and Richard disappeared, did Danielle have any contact with Joseph, her estranged husband? Is there a way that he could have known?
Could have known what where they went?
Yeah, with their plans, where they went?
No, I don't think he could have known where they went. I mean, you know, that they were going back to her house, but other than that, I don't think he would have known that. We just really want anyone with any information to please call the police, and if anybody knows anything, to try to help us.
I'm sure it's got to be gut-wrenching. You know, and Angela, this is your dad. How tough has it been for you? All of a sudden here he just disappeared.
It's very hard. I miss him so much. And I just wish someone would find out some kind of information to bring him back.
Angela, if there's somebody out there who's watching tonight, maybe has some information, possibly connecting maybe the estranged husband or someone else, what would you ask them to do?
I would say, please just call and say whatever you know about it. I need him. And any information that anyone has, just please, I need my dad back.
And Marge, is there anything you want to add to folks who are watching as we show the tip line?
I just want to tell them that it is completely anonymous, and that is important to know. No one will ever know your name. So if anyone knows anything, please come forward. We need to find them. They're from good families. They're good, wonderful people. Felice needs to know. I need to know. And we have to, please just help us.
Well, we hope that getting their faces out there, and we hope you get some resolution soon. And our prayers are going to be with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And again, everybody who's watching at home tonight, I want to show that tip line number again in case you have anything. Look at this beautiful family, and any clues, please call up. It's 215-546-8477. Please give them some comfort if you could. And up next, we're live at the hospice with some new details as Terry Schiavo clings to life. Stay tuned for an update on her condition.
Sometimes seeing the need to protect yourself is obvious. But if you have diabetes, help.